Nice. So that's super interesting. Can we talk about, so when you're talking about elite researchers and self-publishing, what do you mean for someone who does not know about these things? So for most people, don't even have access to a lot of journal articles because they're behind paywalls, let alone know how the process works. So if you could give someone a background into that, that'd be nice.
Sure, of course. So this is actually a very broad topic, and it's a very difficult question, Sahir. So I'll try to unpack it, of course, but maybe I can talk a little bit about how the science is conducted. So everyone may know who are following your channel, your podcasts, but you know, in order to build your academic career, you have to be publishing. So publications are the currency of within our system, and of course where you publish is a quite an important determinant about your career. So it's expected that your work is appearing in high impact journals. And these high impact journals, they signal or they convey the messages that they are fair, they're open, they're accessible to all kinds of researchers. But at the same time, we see the same names, the same authors to be publishing in their journals more and more. So then the question becomes, as again, to what extent there are biases, editorial biases. Although we know that the publication review process is kind of fair and there are blind processes in order to avoid the identities, still editors have enormous power in the system. So once a researcher submits a paper, a manuscript, the editor has a full sight about the article, the sender, affiliations, and everything. So recently, we know a research by a Nobel-winning laureate Vernon, who tried to send publications with his research assistant, and they realized that their names, of course, make a difference. So even though you try to publish the same manuscript, your name, your affiliations would eventually play a role in the editor's mind. So although we believe that the system is perfectly fair and to that extent open to diverse researchers, the reality is far from that. Once an editor sees your affiliation, your name, of course, makes up an idea about the quality of a paper, the process, and everything. So I am saying this with this confidence because I have some numerical or empirical evidence to talk about. Uh, Basically, I mean, of course, yeah. One more thing that I would like to mention: once a manuscript is submitted to a journal, editors, associate editors, the editorial team rejects up to 95% of submissions, of which 80% can be desk reject. Like once an editor sees a paper, has an idea about whether to go with the review process or not. So these desk rejections, again, I wanted to understand if, again, some researchers had the privileged access or any kind of proof that we can start, investigating these issues. I don't know if I managed to address your concern.
No, you definitely did. Uh, that gives a good idea of kind of how the process works and where potential biases could be. You mentioned you had numerical data to support this. Before coming on, you told me about a couple papers which you're planning on publishing and so on about this. Uh, Question one: Do you think the fact that you're publishing papers showing about the biases in this field themselves have problems being published? Uh, and then I can ask the second serious question.
Yes and no again. So I'm not doing all these things by myself, by the way. I collaborate with my closest academic friends, Matthijs Bal from the University of Lincoln from the UK and Yvonne van Rosenberg from Radboud University in Nijmegen. So we are collectively trying to address these issues. And as you said, yes, it is a problem. So we are trying to build a kind of a critical lens and try to publish it in the field of organizational research that is, we believe that is problematic. So there is already kind of a paradoxical situation. So, and also, I was gonna say that, just one second, I was gonna say one thing about that. Oh, yeah. So the thing is, we are also trying to show the evidence from the positivistic perspective. Although we are trying to build a critical lens or critical stance about these issues, the way how we do it is kind of positivistic. So we have the numerical evidence, we have the support from a data that editors shouldn't be saying that we are kind of biased in our own views as well. So again, we are trying to be as objective as possible, but at the same time as critical as possible too. So this is the idea. But as you said, sometimes the ideas are not quite well received by the editors because we are pointing out the systematic and problematic issues. But again, our aim is to indicate that things could be improved. So our essential goal is to generate hope for the newcomers, for the new generations of researchers, and at the same time to indicate that things could have been done or could be done better.
I think it's like your position is very interesting because you're sort of like within the structure itself that you're criticizing. So like the call is coming from inside the house, and as you said, like it's not being well received all the time. But do you in some ways still have to play the game that you're talking about, like when you're in that structure, or how do you navigate that?
All right. Yes and no. The right answer is yes and no, Emma. Thanks for this question. Yes, I believe that we shouldn't be publishing all these things in the journal space. So it's okay to share this. I mean, the idea of publication is to communicate, first of all. So we would like to communicate our ideas, and channels are numerous. So now I'm talking to you guys, but we will be having some listeners. And even when they hear about these things, we are kind of generating new ideas. We are communicating. So I would like to disseminate my research results. The same way we can use the internet, we can use YouTube, we can use multiple channels, TikTok, whatever you name it. So the idea is to communicate the findings. So we would like to disturb the machine to some extent. We would like to share these things with the community that has taken it. And I think this is quite important. But again, if these things are not published, or let's say that they are rejected in the review process for any reasons, we would like to collect all these papers and publish it as a book. This is the idea. So yes, we are. I mean, you may feel or you may think that we are playing the game and we are kind of getting the benefiting from playing the game from the other way around, but no. So we are trying to show things and we are trying to communicate things with the right audience and using the right channels. But again, the findings are there, and I also have some problems with the existing system, right? We should be having kind of the open process about the reviews. So I would like to disseminate my findings. I would like to talk about what I found, what I think, and then whatever thinks, they can raise concerns, they can talk, we can discuss. And journal process is like kind of a one-shot game. You publish, and unless someone finds an error, it stays there. Maybe they are retracted if some errors are found, but otherwise they are like snapshots, never a kind of an ongoing debate. So although science should be based on discussions, debates, and disagreements as well. So in order to facilitate that, journal space may not be the right place at all.